Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? Hope you're well. SuperCoach in finals time, hey? Don't mind the sounds of that. Oh, don't really enjoy that typing, but yeah, I'm keen. Finals time. Have a look at my side. This is just what we're whipping up at the moment. We'll go through each line. I've been doing a few TikToks. Might have seen some YouTube shorts. I feel like the midfield's really where you've got the most options, therefore potentially the most point of difference. The other line's not too much, but yeah, and I think the captaincy and vice captaincy will be huge. You know, triple points for your skipper, double points for your vice. You get to reset this team each and every week. There's no trades, there's no salary cap. Teams will get eliminated, teams will have the week off, etc. So there's no trades. We'll just get to reset with different limitations on how many players from each club we can pick each and every week. But yeah, I can't remember when I last jumped on here to do a YouTube video. It probably would have been my review, I'd imagine. We'll still go through and do my MVP. We'll be live tonight as well. And yeah, I'm keen as for Friday. Like, I'm going to the MCG. I'm nervous, but I feel like the Cats have had so many weeks in a row where there hasn't been much on the line. You know, everyone expects us to win, get the job done. But that raw at the MCG in a final, something I haven't heard for a while. So, for a while. It's been about a year. That probably sounds like a very spoilt Geelong supporter, but it's been a while since I've had that big crowd energy. You know, you miss it. So, I did go to the Richmond game, round 24, pretty run-of-the-mill sort of setup. It was funny, sometimes you sit in your regular seats at a home game and you know the people around you, but when you sit in those away games, you just get whatever seats. There's always some characters, you know, the absolute nuffies who love just really talking about everything with the footy with you, and you're like, geez, yeah, righto. And everyone's probably come across that supporter who's sitting in front of you, but just really likes to get involved in the convo, sort of hitting these ones. Yeah, mate, he's been out of form, hasn't he? You'll say something to the person next to you, he's like, hasn't he? Yeah, absolutely. And then by the time it was half time, old mate's talking to us about where he met his girlfriend in Thailand and all this sort of stuff. And he's like, who's your favourite Geelong player of all time? Just some real interesting units you get at the footy. And even when I was lining up, we're about to catch a tram to the MCG, a couple of kids, Richmond gear and stuff, and I was with my friend who barracks for the Cats as well, and you can sort of see him point to us and snicker and laugh, and I'm like, I think we're having the piss taken out of us for being Cats supporters. And the kid was like, I hate Geelong. I was like, yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of Richmond either. And then she was like, it's like a 5-year-old kid. It's like, well, I'm not a big fan of talking. It's just wild how kids just say the most straight up things. But look, mate, you're a redhead, so all the best. Enough. Jeez, that's pretty brutal. Look, sorry. Didn't mean to take the piss out of a 4-year-old, but fuck, it was funny. Enjoy following that club, guys. You've had some success, but the young kids, they've missed it. They've missed the flag. So hopefully for their sake, they get some success for the Tigs, but I'll be hoping not. Anyway, let's take a look at. Well, let's take a look at the backline. I mean, first things first, if you want to join the league, I thought it was a head-to-head league, so I made a couple, but it looks like it's just a total entry team. So, yeah, if you want to jump onto those leagues, feel free. In terms of the backline, I've gone both Giants. I was really considering, Jordan Clark as well. Just got slightly sworn off because it's going to be raining heavily in the Dockers game in WA, and it's not to say Clark can't play well in the wet, but I feel like he's a bit more of a dry weather, uncontested ball sort of guy. So that's the only reason. I feel like Brad Close will pay a lot of attention to Dane Zorko. So I'm choosing to go elsewhere there. And look, otherwise, Josh Dacos could be worth a shout. Rory Ladd's consistent, but, there's a few other options. And then you probably got to go all the way like Sicily. Had his moments late in the year, but probably not consistent. The other one I'd really consider is Tom Stewart. I do think he is in for a big game. Plays well against Brisbane. They aren't exactly boasting a lot of key tall forwards. I think he's going to play a really good game. So I think the safest bet is to go Ash and Whitfield. Like, they almost always provide minimum 200 points between them, and more often than not, more than that. I think Ash got tagged pretty heavily a few weeks back, really struggled, but I'm backing him in. And in terms of the rucks, Darcy Cameron just has to be the play. You would consider Meek or Jackson, I think. And against the right opponent, I'd consider Jared Witts too. But I just think, yeah, maybe against a strong Dockers ruck department, I'll steer clear. But yeah, Jackson, you'll also notice he was available as a forward in our SuperCoach home and away season. But they have actually adjusted these positions for finals to make them actually realistic. So it also gives us a little bit of an insight into what positions we might expect in dual position players for next year. But I think Darcy Cameron against O'Brien, look, Cameron's probably the best averaging guy anyway. You could argue Jackson has him covered, but we know he is now sharing the ruck a bit. He's still playing great footy. He plays a bit of mid, but yeah, I feel most comfortable with Cameron. Meek, who the Hawks got? He's got Briggs. So, yeah, you could definitely mount a case for Meek as well. I think Cameron's the safest bet, and that at the moment, that's the way I'm going with Darcy Cameron. We'll finish with the midfield. We'll go forward line now, and I think Ryan Myers picks himself. The finish to the year that he's had, midfield time, quality player anyway. I'd be locking him in. Otherwise, it's pretty tough. You know, I think Dangerfield, capable of being a big game player, but also playing a lot of forward time. Thilthorpe has to be respected. Ruck minutes. Sort of guy you just feel could tear a final apart, and I think Adelaide will get the win. The thing with the finals is, like this format, you can really hone in on those specific matchups, and we'll talk a bit more about that in the midfield with tags and that type of thing. Jez is more than capable, but I can't see him getting absolutely a hold of the Brisbane backline. Dylan Moore's pretty consistent. Well, actually, that's not true. He's a reliable player of years gone by, and he's had his moments late in the year, but not stacks of mid-time, a little bit more. Could be, I feel like Dylan Moore could be worth a shout. Don't mind him, but not one that I've selected yet. Zach Bailey in great form. Certainly worth a consideration. Shea Bolton, you feel like he's got that big game factor about him, but can certainly be very, very hot and cold. Big game performer. Some might like Toby Green as well. And then, look, I haven't really scrolled much further because we really do start to drop away, and there's no real point going for something too risky down here, you know, with no salary cap. So we'll take a look at the midfield in a moment. But yeah, I really do feel like most of these other lines you're picking out of anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6. So there's not a lot of diversity, but the midfield is where you get a bit of range, and we'll take a look at that now. And in terms of strategy, it is going to be hard to find differences in our sides. Like I said, there's not a stack to choose from across multiple lines, but I think what you want to be looking for is ceiling. I think the big differences in the scores will be that guy who has a best on damaging final and scores 150 versus a guy that maybe is just a consistent 100 type of guy. So I think I've sort of looked to go that way in my midfield. Sort of thinking, like say Josh Dunkley, very consistent, occasionally has a big ceiling, more or less a consistent operator. Same with someone like Andy Brayshaw. Yeah, he scores some 160s, don't get me wrong, but more of your consistent type. You could even argue the case for Tom Green. I love Tom Green, but what I've gone with is guys like Dawson, Rowell and Holmes. When they're best on ground, we're talking 150s. And Rowell, wet weather footy in WA. I think the Dockers will get it done, but I think Rowell will have a big day out. I feel like Jordan Dawson is just going to lead from the front against the Pies. First final, Adelaide Oval, kicking the season off or the final series off. He's my skipper. I think he's going to go big. And I really like Holmes, and I've got Nick Dacos down there as well. I think Dacos is just too good to leave out. Like, I sort of feel like the Pies will put up a bit of a fight, but they're underdogs. Will the Crows tag? Not sure. Sometimes Peatling and other things. But yeah, I think Nick's just too good to not go with him. And Holmes, he's had some big finals last year. So I feel like he's a guy who can really get on top in these games. McCluggage you could look at. I'd be steering clear of Brisbane midfielders because Geelong have been tagging with Mark O'Connor and O'Shane Mullen, and with reasonable success as well. So that's I'd try to dodge those potential tags. We touched on Dunkley and Brayshaw, these lads as well. Noah Anderson, definitely worth a shout as well. He's a gun. I think when Gold Coast play well, it's led by Rowell and Anderson, so definitely an option. Tom Green, I really love, and he strikes me as a big game player. The only thing that turned me off a smidgen was I feel like Connor Nash will go to him, and I feel like he's actually a pretty good matchup for him. I've got no stats to back that up. Like, I got no idea if he does have a good record, if he usually goes to him, but I just feel like that bigger body mid, Nash plays a bit defensively. He is a big body mid as well. I think he'll go to him. I just suppose trying to play the percentages. If there is a small chance a guy could cop a tag, let's try and avoid that. Sarong, very consistent. Was very tempted to pick him. Also feel like he's a finals type of player. Haven't gone with him, but definitely don't mind it at all. Bailey Smith, rate that as well. Dunkley, I feel like Dunkley goes to Smith. That's the only thing I'd say, but he can certainly rack up the footy. And Finn Callaghan has had some big games. I'd certainly consider him as well. Then we sort of start to drop away. You got your Neils, your Miller, that type of thing, and we really start to sort of drop off here. So I think you've almost got 15 options in the midfield, maybe a touch less, 12 to 14, I reckon. And we can only pick 3 or 4. I'd definitely have a mid in your flex. I think clearly the guns are in the midfield. We've lost a lot of gun ruckmen with no Grundy, no Gawn, no Cherry. So I think the mids, you want to get a 4th one. But yeah, that's the way I'm going. But it would not surprise me if Brayshaw was best on ground. Dunkley's capable. Anderson could go nuts. Feel like Green and Sarong are made for finals. So this is just the way I've approached it. And I've got no real read on, whether they're unique or not. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, probably the main thing is to look for those gut feel guys that you feel are big game players. If there's a potential tag, try to avoid it. And I think, maybe we can hone in on some of the conditions. We know it's going to be pouring rain in WA. Probably brings Rowell right into it. Probably brings Sarong right into it. Does it affect a Luke Ryan or a Jordan Clark just a little bit? Less uncontested footy. That might not suit a Daniel Rioli and that type of thing. So take those things into consideration. Even Thilthorpe, I feel like Collingwood are a little light on down back. So I like Thilthorpe as an option. So, yeah, I think it'll be different for us each week. That's the way I've sort of gone. But, yeah, would love to hear your thoughts and how you're shaping up. I'm certainly not taking it as serious as we did in the home and away season. I don't want to get bogged down and getting as frustrated as we did. But I am secretly hoping I can get a small bit of redemption and finish with some sort of good stuff, even if it is in a finals series, which is not quite what we measure ourselves against. But hey, we will see. We will see. Make sure you get that captain and VC spot on. That'll be the most crucial decision you make in this format with triple and double points on offer. So I'm going to edit this one and then go live tonight. I'll talk to you later. Cheers.